Hello and welcome, everybody. We are so glad you're here, whether you are watching this on your lunch break, after hours, in between patients. We're excited to have you join us for this on-demand webinar. Today, we're excited to welcome Dr. Len Tau as he talks about turning reviews into revenue and how you can boost your dental practice with winning online strategies. This webinar is all about helping you take control of your online presence, attract new patients, and build a 5-star reputation. And the goal is to do all of that without adding too much more to your plate. I'm especially excited to welcome Dr. Len Tau as our presenter today. As a practicing dentist, consultant, and speaker, he knows exactly what it takes to stand out in today's competitive landscape. He is the author of Raving Patients and the newly released 100 plus tips to 100 5-star reviews in 100 days. 8 years ago, he began his now popular podcast, Raving Patients. He has given over 600 presentations, was a practicing dentist for 23 years, and graduated from Tufts Dental School in 1999. In 2007, he bought a practice after the owner committed suicide. With a huge debt service, he quickly recognized online opportunities and learned the strategies and secrets behind building a practice online. His results were overwhelmingly positive. It boiled down to online marketing and, more specifically, reviews. Dr. Tau, or Len as he prefers, will give you what you need to know and what you specifically need to do to take advantage of the most important marketing type for your practice should focus on, and that's reputation marketing. He will help your practice become more visible and credible and attract new patients. On a personal note, he sold his practice in 2021, moved to Parkland, Florida with his wife, Rissa, and now a 17-year-old, his son, Aiden, is 17 years old. In December of 2022, he retired from clinical dentistry, and when he's not treating patients, he's standing in front of a room presenting or playing poker. He serves as the general manager of Bird Eye, a reputation marketing platform, and the owner of Tau Dental Consulting, a firm that helps dentists build comprehensive marketing plans. So sit back, relax. This time is all about education from one of the best, Dr. Len Tau. Let's dive in. Hey, Len.
Jacqueline, thank you so much for having me today, and I look forward to spending the next 50 so minutes with the audience, sharing why reputation is important, how do you become visible and credible online.
Thank you.
So I'm going to share my screen in just a moment, but I always like to kind of add to what you just said. I do run the dental division for Bird Eye. I always like to say this isn't a Bird Eye sales pitch. I talk about Bird Eye for maybe 3 minutes in the entire session. I'll give my contact information. So if anybody's watching this on demand and they want to reach out to me for some advice or any questions, I'll share that information with them at the end so they have my contact information.
That
Okay.
sounds
So
amazing.
perfect. All right, guys. So I start off every one of my, in this case, webinars with this quote: education without action is just entertainment. And I use this because I like to entertain when I give seminars and webinars. But most importantly, I want you to take it away as education. So I need you to take action. So I'm going to give you some action items during, in order to get the best results, you need to take action with what I'm talking about. Feel free to screenshot, take any type of screen images of anything that I'm talking about here. It's free to use for your own purposes. Marketing has changed forever. It used to be as seen on TV. And if you've ever been in a mall where they have the as seen on TV stores, the products there have all been on infomercials and stuff. And the marketing determined the business success of the products. And generally, those products are not of very good quality. Okay, I think they're crappy products, most of those that are on TV. But marketing today is seen on the internet, where your patients determine your business success. So the old marketing playbook is broken. 86% of people skip TV ads. I personally only watch television live if it's sports. Everything else is recorded TV because I don't want to watch the commercials. It's called interruption-based marketing. 91% unsubscribe to email. Stop sending emails to your patients. They're not going to open them up. Stop sending emails. 44% of direct mail is never opened. Most people don't do direct mail campaigns. They only do them for a very short period of time because the ROI is not there. And every single year, 200 million people are added to the do not call list. So that's the old marketing playbook. This is marketing today. It's online, where 93% search for a business online. 90% choose a business on page one of Google. 75% never scroll past page one. And there's a 500% growth in near me searches every single year. Dentist near me, cosmetic dentist near me, dentist in my zip code. That's what we're talking about here. So Google is now your digital storefront. If someone is referred to your practice, they see an ad that you put on Facebook. If they are just Googling dentist near me, they're going to see your information in this look. And you have to put your best foot forward because you're only as good as Google says you are. You can be the best dentist in the world, but if Google doesn't say you are, it's going to hurt you. So marketing today is your current patients talking to your future patients. And what I teach, I refer to as foundational marketing. It's essential, it's affordable, and it's very effective, but it has to be done to build the foundation for other marketing to be effective. This was my practice. I purchased it in 2007 from, as Jacqueline said, a dentist who committed suicide. When I bought the practice, I gutted the building. I revamped the entire image of the practice. Nobody would know it was the same practice when they came in the office. And I hired the gurus in the industry to help me market the practice. But the gurus were all about me marketing myself in places I didn't think were great. But the doctors, the other people I knew in the area were very envious of the fact that I bought this amazing office in this amazing location. Now, my location was a very busy intersection in Northeast Philadelphia. And those gurus who I hired wanted me to do yellow pages and they wanted me to do billboard. And I was like, that's not where I want to be. And again, this was in 2007. I said, I need to be on the internet because that's the place that people are going to find their dentist. So this was location for me, page one of a Google search. And this is what Google looked like back in 2010, 11, and 12. There were 7 dentists on page one in your local area. This was the local map pack, they call it, with 7 dentists, A through G, and I was number 1 here. And if I wasn't number 1, I paid for an advertisement, and you can see on the left-hand side here, there's a paid Philadelphia Invisalign ad. This is how I was visible online, okay? But that's what it looked like in 2010, 11, and 12, like I said. It's not what it looks like now. This is what it looks like now. There are 3 dentists on page 1 of Google, okay? And if you pay for a position, you could be the 4th. But if you're not one of these 3 or 4, you're invisible. So one of the things I want you to do, and you can pause the recording, you can do it afterward, just take an action item, is I want you to Google yourself. Dentist near me, dentist in my zip code, cosmetic dentist near me. Okay, that's what I want you to Google, but I want you to do it in incognito or private browsing mode. So Google doesn't know you're searching from a device you've searched on before. This will give you truer results than Googling yourself on a computer in your office or your phone, because that's going to give you false hope about how you rank. But see if you're ranking in the top 3 on a search when you're in your area. That's what I want you to determine here. Many practices are not in the top 3, and then you're really difficult to find. So as we start moving through content here, I want to talk about a term called social proof, okay? Social proof, this is a prime example of social proof. McDonald's, over 19 billion served. And I don't know how many people would say McDonald's food is good, okay? It's fast, it's not even cheap anymore, it's not very good. But people stop there when they show over 19 billion served. Similarly, if you had a practice with 4,318 patient reviews, people will want to learn more about your practice because you have this amazing form of social proof, which is a ton of reviews from your patients. So social proof is a tendency to see an action as more appropriate when others are doing it. And it was coined by Robert Cialdini in his book, The Psychology of Persuasion, called Influence. And I highly recommend you read this book if you haven't read it before. And consumers trust social proof reviews 12 times more than manufacturer descriptions. And our main manufacturer description is our website. And I know many of my colleagues who don't use their own photos or they use stock photos in their photo gallery to show their cases. So there's this discrepancy here, similar to this, ads versus reality, where the fast food items that you see in the ads never look like the food you get when you go into the fast food restaurant. So there's this problem with perception. So accept this hard truth that no one cares what your marketing team has to say about your dental practice. They care what your patients have to say. So these are your happy patients. And this is your sales and marketing team. And you have this advantage that you have these empowered patients who want to talk about you online, and you have to give them the ability to do that because it creates trust. When patients trust you, what do? They buy from you. They refer others. They come back every 3, 4, or 6 months and they continue to spend money. When they trust you, they buy. And that's the most important thing. But I also want you to be a credible practice. And credibility is really important, but you also need to have visibility. Being credible and not visible is a problem, but being visible and not credible is also a problem. You need both of these things. And I want you to create these raving patients. And that's a brand of mine online. It's one of my books called Raving Patients. I have a Raving Patients Facebook group. I have a Raving Patients podcast. Okay. I want you to create these raving patients of your practice or raving fans. Now, how do you do that? Well, you do these things. 3 things. You exceed the patient expectation, you go the extra mile, and you underpromise and overdeliver. And if you do these 3 things, you will avoid a dreaded 1-star review, and you will create these raving fans of your practice. And I want to spend a few minutes here talking about how to create a 5-star customer experience on a silver platter for your patients. So number one, I love this sign. This was a plastic surgery practice that my wife went to for some plastic surgery and went in for a consult. And this was the first thing I saw. And I love this. Director of first impressions. Okay. She gave an amazing first impression about the practice. And that's where we ended up choosing for my wife's plastic surgery. Okay. So this is a great sign. I recommend all practices put this at the front desk. You also want to avoid having miscommunications or discussions that don't make any sense. And here's an example of what you don't want to have happen in your practice. Watch this video.
My son. He's going to be all right. Oh, thank God. Some good news. No other way to take that. That's a great attitude. I gotta tell you, if I was getting this news, I don't know that I'd take it this well. But you said he was all right. Yes, he's lost his left hand, so he's going to be all right. You son of a bitch! He's a very literal man. Yes, that's more the way I would take the news. Oh, this guy again. How is he, doctor? It looks like he's dead. Oh, little guy. The tears are coming. The tears just are coming. Just to be clear, it looks like he's dead or he is dead. It just looks like he's dead. He's got like blue paint on him or something. But he's going to be fine. What is wrong with you?
So you want to make sure you have great communication skills. All right. Now, what do these companies have in common? Apple, Nordstrom's, Starbucks, Lululemon, the Ritz-Carlton, and Zappos. So they are all known for having great customer service. They get a premium for their services. They're more expensive than other services. Their products are of higher quality, and yet they are extremely successful companies. So I always like to say that when I was in practice, I threw my logo in there as well. So I did those same things. Okay, I was in the 95th percentile. I didn't take insurance. I was a fee-for-service practice. We had great customer service, and yet we were very successful. So it is my belief that patients will pay a premium for any service if they are treated well, and then they will tell their friends and family about you as well. So they will refer as well. So you need to create this wow experience. So I'm going to share with you how we did things differently when I was in practice, because being different is what separated me from other dentists and was my competitive advantage. So here are some of my philosophies on customer service and personalized care that made me stand out. Number one, we made the patients love coming to the dentist. If they only liked coming, they wouldn't show up. If they love coming, they always show up. We gave them what they want with limitations. And what I mean by that is if someone came in and they were getting married, they wanted their 6 front teeth to look a lot better and they wanted veneers, yet they had posterior breakdown, we would do their cosmetics as long as they knew that they had to fix their back teeth or the cosmetics would fail. I'm not talking about doing Invisalign in a periodontal, a patient who had periodontal issues. That's not what we're talking about. I wasn't doing malpractice or below the standard of care, but we gave them what with limitations. MMFI, we imagine this tattooed on everybody's forehead, and it stands for make me feel important. And when we made patients feel important, they showed up. We talked to their patients about their interests, not ours. I always discussed things they wanted to discuss rather than myself and my team chit-chatting around the patient. We were caring, compassionate, and sympathetic to their needs. I had a lot of patients who were scared of the dentist, and they told me that they were yelled at or scolded by their hygienist or doctor because they weren't a great patient. Don't do that. We had fun with their patients during treatment. It works better than nitrous oxide. I hated using a nitrous oxide mask because it blocked the teeth I was working on. So we made sure they had a great experience and it was fun, so they didn't have to use nitrous oxide. Our team had a great attitude and it showed. Patients loved coming to the office. The team really liked working for me. I give painless injections, and a lot of people out there don't give painless injections. And I don't talk clinically in this seminar, but I'm going to share with you a clinical tip on how to give a painless injection. So first off, I want you to go look for this product, Profound Gel, okay? It has prilocaine, lidocaine, tetracaine in it, and it's used for pre-injection. So you want to find something, it's called Profound Gel. Any compounding pharmacy can make it for you. You want to leave it on the tissue for about a minute, and then you want to follow it up with a carpule of Citinest Plain, which is a neutral pH, so there's no burn, carpule of anesthesia, and then you want to follow it up with anything you want, lidocaine, if you want to use carbocaine, if you want to use septicaine, whatever you want to use to anesthetize the patient, they will feel nothing at all. It is truly a painless injection, okay? And I highly recommend you try this technique. Again, it's Profound Gel on the gum for a minute, one carpule of Citinest Plain, followed by one carpule of whatever else you want to use, okay? This will give a painless injection. We also use topical during our hygiene visits. Most practices don't give numbing when they get cleanings done other than deep cleanings. I use topical if the patient wants it and they felt nothing during their appointments. We help our patients understand insurance. I was not in network with any insurance, but I learned about insurances and I helped them understand what their insurance company would pay and not pay. So what also sets us apart? So I like to personally speak to those patients who knew patients who called the office. That was what I did. I welcomed them to the practice, had a discussion with them prior to them coming in. It creates that level of trust with the patients, very different than what other practices did. Our new patients forms were different. So we had our patients fill out a comfort menu, which gave them choices of what type of pre-medication do you want? Do you want nitrous oxide or a mild sedative? Do you want to watch TV? Do you want a music on an iPad or an iPhone? Do you want a blanket or pillow? We gave them these opportunities to tell us what they liked about a practice. This is what they didn't like. So we also had our patients fill out a please handle me with care form, which were issues they had when they went to previous offices. They gag. They were concerned about the needles. Their teeth are sensitive. They don't like cotton in their mouth. They don't want to be left in the waiting room for long periods of time. They want to know the cost up front. So we created this please handle me with care form as a way of telling them, hey, we want to make this experience great for you. Now, if you want a copy of this, you can email me at len@drlentau.com, and I'm happy to share these forms with you. Okay. Now, number 3 is I went with my patients to their implant consults and oral surgeries. So I was there to help seal the deal with my oral surgeon. I was there when they had teeth extracted, when they had dentures placed to adjust the denture so they didn't have to come back to my office. I gave them pristine customer service. I picked up the phone. I checked people out. I wasn't God in my own practice. I was a member of the team. And then patients could always reach out to me 24/7. They got my cell phone. Very few people used it. I actually get more calls being retired than I did when I was actually practicing. Okay. Now, here are some small things that go a long way. We refer each patient by their first name throughout the entire appointment, unless they wanted to be referred to as another name. I personally apologize if we were running late. I would go out to the waiting room and let them know that I apologize. We're running a few minutes late. It's not something we did very often. We also provided flexible payment options, Care Credit, Cherry, Sunbit. You have to offer ways for patients to afford treatment. We offered paraffin wax for their hands. The one rule, they had to come in on time, or if they didn't come on time, they couldn't get the paraffin. And then every single employee said hello and goodbye to each patient. We made them feel important. Now, why did we have to provide a wow experience? Because simply offering a good service or a product is not enough. To get people to come back, you need reason more than just satisfaction. Now, typically, people don't talk about their experience unless it's remarkably good or remarkably bad. And even then, it's much more likely to vent about a bad experience, especially online. So I want you to give them a reason to write about how great their experience was. I refer to this as reputation marketing, which is generating 5-star reviews and then marketing it to generate more new patients. That's what this is about. And I know over the last 10 years of practicing, 1,625 patients chose my office because of my online reputation. So it's about 160 plus patients per year, which came in because of my reviews online. And I asked every patient why they chose my practice. That's why I know this data. And this is an example of what one of them said. Oops. That's not, let's try that again. There we go.
So I saw that you found me on Google.
Yes.
Okay, what did you search for?
The top 10 doctors in Philadelphia area.
And obviously you found a list of top 10.
Yes, you did.
But why did you pick my office?
Because you had 93 Google reviews.
And that made me stand out from everybody else.
Exactly.
And did you read them or you check them out?
I was satisfied with the
With
93,
the 93 reviews?
4.7 stars worth of Google reviews you had.
Perfect, thank you very much.
Yeah.
So this was a long time ago. This is probably 10 or 12 years ago, but as I show you some data from some surveys that are done and consumer surveys, you'll see that the data still rings true now. But she saw that I had a ton of reviews. She didn't read all of them, but she saw the 4.7 stars. That was enough for her to come into the practice. So it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. If you think about that, you'll do things differently. But in the case of the internet, you can lose your reputation in a nanosecond. Okay? Because today everyone's a publisher. They have an Android, an iPhone, a tablet, and you could be running late in your office, and they could be sitting in your waiting room writing a bad review. They can even be in the chair writing a bad review while you're working on them. And I've seen that happen. Reviews drive business. A great reputation equals more money. And there's no such thing as a reputation repair kit. It's very hard to fix a damaged reputation. So why is having a great online reputation so important? So I'm going to share with you some data in just a couple of minutes to back up what I'm talking about here. So number one, this is a great tweet. Shout out to people who rate and review things, because I don't like to rate and review things, but I like to know how things are rated and reviewed. So he doesn't like to read the reviews, he doesn't like to write reviews, but he certainly likes to read reviews. And we are a reputation society. Every single thing we do revolves around reputation, okay? When you go to a restaurant, you may go look at Yelp reviews. When you go to the movies, you may go to Rotten Tomatoes to see what people are saying about the movie. When you buy from Amazon, you don't buy a 1-star product, you buy a 5-star product, okay? So this is a very common situation we see. And then if you are marketing your practice, you're spending money on marketing, you need to be very careful. So if you're doing what we call pay-per-click or Google AdWords, which is paid search, if you're doing any type of SEO or organic search, if you're doing any type of display advertising or remarketing, or if you're doing any type of social media, paid social media, okay? If you don't have reviews, you're wasting your money, in my opinion, because the reputation enhances the performance. The ROI is going to be significantly higher if you have the reviews behind you. So foundationally, you need the reviews. So in general, I want you to stop your marketing spend until you have a steady flow of reviews, because you're wasting your money. Now here's data from 3 surveys. There's a combination of 23, 24, and 25. The 25 survey just came out a few months ago, and I'm sharing the data here. So what business type have you read online reviews for? Notice dentists are 3rd of all industries. How often do consumers read online reviews when browsing for a local business? 96%, at least occasionally, read online reviews when researching a local business. It's basically everyone. How important a decision does reviews play in order for you to use a business like this? So healthcare, 53% say it's very important. What is the minimum average star rating a business must have for you to consider using them? Look, it's nowhere near 5 stars. You do not need to be a perfectly rated business, just so you know. Which market-leading review platform would you most likely trust for these industries? Healthcare is 66% Google, which is what we fall under. When reading a review, remember what that patient said. What do you pay most attention to? The overall star rating is number 1. How recent the review is was number 2. And how many reviews the business has was number 3. 60% won't use a business with less than 4 stars. And 195 is the average number of reviews needed for consumer trust. So almost 200 reviews. Now, how recent does a review have to be? 73% think reviews older than 3 months are no longer relevant. Ideally, they want them, 25% want them in the past 2 weeks. Okay? 27 in the past month. You need fresh, current reviews from your patients. Now, I'm going to read you 2 examples of review responses. So number 1 is, Denise, we appreciate the confidence you have in Dr. Evans and the entire team at Main Street Dental. We value all of our patients, and our main goal has always been to keep them all healthy. Thank you so much for your kind remarks and terrific 5-star review. It means so much to us. That's option 1. Option 2 is, thank you so much, Denise, for your kind words and for trusting us with your care of your dental health. Dr. Evans and our entire team truly enjoy being here for you, and we're so happy to hear that you feel comfortable with our care we provide. It means the world to us to know we've earned your trust. We look forward to many more visits with you. Warm regards, the team at Dr. Evans' office. So when I show this at a live session, I ask, which choice do you like better, 1 or 2? And it's like so almost close to 50-50. Most of the time, number 2 is preferred over choice number 1. The last seminar I gave, it was like 70-30. Okay. Well, guess what? Number 2 is actually an AI response. Number 1 is the one written by a human being. Almost 60% to 40%. Now, for which of these local business types does reputation matter the most when choosing a business? Second is what we fall under, healthcare. So it's pretty significantly here. Now, if you're a specialist, after being referred a business, what do you do next? 87% of the time, the patient's looking online. And 52% of the time, they're looking at online reviews and ratings. It's not only about the referral. But you have to be proactive. You cannot be reactive to this. So I like to tell a story in this situation. So I had a dentist reach out to me about 10 years ago, and he had 64 Google reviews. 26 of them were bad, and they had 3.5 stars on Google. So they didn't look very good. So he reached out to me and said, Len, do you mind if I pick your brain about something? I'm like, sure. I've since learned that picking my brain means they want free advice. So they said that I have a problem. The problem is that half the reviews I got are bad. And if you read the reviews, they're all about the person at the front desk. She's rude, she's cold, she's condescending, she's short, she has tone. All these words were used by the person at the front desk. And this was a New York practice, and he wanted my opinion as to what he should do. And I said to him, I think you should fire her. And he said, that's the problem. She's my wife. So jokingly, I said, you need to divorce her then. And he hung up and disconnected the call. I looked at his office a few years ago, and he has about 150 Google reviews, of which 75 or more are bad. He never took any action there. So you have to take action when something like this is affecting your practice. So as we move forward here, I'm going to share with you the 2 main features of online reputation-based marketing. Number 1 is getting found, which is visibility. And number 2 is getting found in a compelling way, which is credibility. That's where we're going to spend the time we have. So how do you get more visible? In other words, how are you found online instead of paying for it? Okay. First thing is, why do you need to be more visible? Now, it's all about this map pack, this 3-pack. Now, would you believe position 1 is done 24% of the clicks? Position 2 gets 13% of the clicks. Position 3 gets 10% of the clicks. And all other rankings get 2% of the clicks. So if you're not in that map pack, that top 3, you're not getting many clicks at all. Now, also, according to Red Local SEO, businesses featured in the Google Local Pack received nearly 44% of all the clicks, a stark contrast to the 8% click-through rate for the businesses in the standard organic listings. And then data from advanced web ranking reveals that businesses not in the local 3-pack, but appearing in the organic results achieve an average click-through rate of just 2.6%, which emphasizes the necessity of being included in the map pack. And that's a 3-pack at the top that we're talking about here. Now, I also want to mention to people, this is not a job of your website company. Your website company is there to get your website ranked higher on Google. Okay, that's organic SEO. Okay, I'm going to help you get ranked on the maps of Google. That's local SEO. I just want for you guys to keep that in mind because a lot of web companies don't provide this as a service. Now, I want to review a few local SEO ranking factors so you can look at it. And these are a number of the main ones. One of the biggest ones, which I can't change, you can't change, the only one who changes is Google, is how far are you from the center of what Google considers the center of the city. Okay. Practices that are closer generally rank a little higher than practices that are further out. Okay. Now, here are some other ranking factors. To the right is a Google My Business listing or Google Business profile of my former dental practice. So the total number of reviews is a big ranking factor. How do you compare to the other people in your area? The velocity of reviews, how often you're getting them, is another ranking factor. The star rating, the overall star rating, is another ranking factor. Now, I listed here primary categories and secondary categories. If you look here, the primary category for the office is dentist, which is why it has that lightning bolt next to it. And then cosmetic dentist, dental hygienist, dental implant provider, dental radiology, and teeth whitening services. Those are secondary categories. So one of the bigger ranking factors is what is your primary category? So if you're a dentist, you do not want to show up as a cosmetic dentist as your primary category unless 85 to 90% of your practice is cosmetic dentistry. Okay. You also don't want to be listed as a dental clinic. In Canada, you're listed as a dental clinic more often. In the US, that we don't use that term very highly. Okay. So you want to make sure your categories are correct. Okay. And then the last part, which I'm going to get more into right now, is the consistency of your local listings, making sure the name, address, and phone number is consistent on all these local directories. Those ranking factors play a big role in how you show up on the maps of Google. Okay. So as we move forward here again, I want to talk about how to claim or evaluate these local listings, and they're called citations. So what is a citation? It's a mention of your business name, address, and phone number on various local directories. Okay. So this is called your NAP, N-A-P. Okay. The NAP needs to be consistent because Google trusts this information. And if the information is inconsistent or wrong, it penalizes you. This is the reason why your competitor, who's only been there a year, may be ranking higher than you. Their citations have been handled appropriately by their marketing person or their company they're working with. Okay. If you have inconsistent listings, you're generally not going to rank on the maps of Google. It's like giving someone a business card with the wrong information on, which you would never do. Now, this is the old ecosystem. And this shows that all of these sites talk to each other, all these directories talk to each other, but ultimately they talk to Google itself. And that's the most important thing. This is the current ecosystem where you have all primary data aggregators. They aggregate the data, they pass it on to all these local directories, and then they all talk to Google, Bing, and Apple, which are the 3 primary search engines. Okay. And again, the information has to be consistent, and you must have a trust factor here. If you're not in a circle of trust, you generally don't rank on the maps. So here are the rules. The name, the address, and phone number, the NAP, must be exactly the same on each of these local directories in order for Google to recognize it and give you 2 thumbs up. So you need to consider the following: street or ST. I'm in Florida or FL. If you have a suite number, is it suite or STE, units or number? Is it and or the ampersand sign, Inc. or incorporated? These are all examples of problems you may have with your address. So what I want you to do is I want you to take out your phone and I want you to scan this QR code. This QR code takes you to an internal scan that I just see the results on, and it will show you how good or bad the information in your listings are. Okay. So you want to put in your name of the business. It should ask you for your name and your phone number and your email address potentially, and then put this information in. And it's going to result with a score. And it's going to show you 4 scores actually. There's going to be an overall score. There's going to be a listing score. There's going to be a ranking score and a reputation score. I'm only concerned for this exercise with your listing score. I want you to see what number you get for your listings. So scroll down a little bit and you'll see there's a number for your listings. Green is good. Orange, yellow, and red are not as good. Okay, so the higher the score, the better. And if you scroll down a little bit more when the score runs, it will tell you exactly what's wrong with these various directories. So you're going to see issues with your name, issues with your address, and issues with your phone number. So if you're using a tracking number on Google, it's going to cause issues. If you have avenue, streets, suites, all these things in your name and in your address, it's going to cause some problems as well. Okay, who's most affected by this? You're most affected if you have like a brand new startup within the last 5 years and you've never fixed this information. If you bought a practice in the last 5 to 7 years and it's never been updated appropriately. Also, if you moved your practice, physically moved your practice to another location, that's also a problem as well. So those are instances where your information is not going to be consistent, and it needs to be. Okay. How do you claim all these sites? This is not a do-it-yourself job. Okay. Bird Eye does this as part of what we do. This is part of our job, our offerings in our package is getting all this data consistent online. Okay. The end result is that you'll generally rank higher on the maps when you have a consistent presence like this. Okay. And I just want to use just a case study here. So you'll see this is VIP Dental. They're in Raleigh, North Carolina. That's where their office is located. And I'm able to do a map ranking tool on the maps using a program. And I can show you, if you want to reach out to me and ask for my assistance, I will show you how your office ranks on the maps here. So this is how this works. So their office is circled, and the woman, when she searches, is finding them ranking second. When the gentleman searches, he's finding them 13th on the map. Okay. So when we look at some other keywords, here's the dentist scan again, like I showed you. Okay. This is dental implants. They have no ranking for dental implants. They're red everywhere. Not the guy doesn't find her. The woman is 9th on the maps. They wanted to focus on cosmetic dentistry. So you can see for cosmetics, they're green everywhere, which means they rank very high for the term cosmetic dentist. If you have this visibility, you dominate the local search and you end up with a ton of patients coming in because of this. Okay. This is just one of my more recent clients. I just want to show you that he actually has 483 Google reviews. He was using a review service that's really good at reviews, but they weren't doing anything else. This is how he started looking on the maps. This is how he ended. You can see how it converted from being invisible to being very visible. So again, if you have interest in seeing how your practice looks, just send me a message. I'm happy to show you and run a report and send it to you. Okay, all I need is the name of your practice, the fact that you want me to run a scan, and I can do that for you. So the NAP, the name, address, and phone number, the consistency is the key here. Now, the second part is, how do you get more credible? How do you generate more positive reviews for your practice? So patient reviews are now one of the biggest factors in local search. Now, Google has stated they want them to be of regular velocity, at least 1 to 2 every single week. That's at least 1 to 2 every single week. Obviously, if you do that, you'll have more recent reviews, and you want a rating of 4.6 to 4.9. You do not need to be 5 stars. If you look at when someone writes a review, now Google's letting you add photos to the reviews. So they can click the add photo button. They add a photo. That review is generally going to be more relevant when you look at Google. The ones with photos generally rank higher from a relevancy perspective. One thing I want to add to this is, if you have a bad review that's more visible than you want it to be, what we found worked, and I've tested this a few times recently and it worked each time. Have one of your older reviews, a patient who's reviewed you in the past, ask them if they can update the review and add a photo to the review, which is very easy to do. And that review will generally rank higher than any of your negative reviews. So if you want a negative review to drop lower, that's the way to do it. Have a patient who's written an older review updated with a new photo, and that generally ranks higher because of that. Just a little tip there. So you must collect reviews from your happy patients. But I want you to change how you ask for it. I want you to ask for feedback about the experience. I don't want you to ask for a review. It changes the discussion that you're having with the patient. Okay. Asking for a review sounds like you're begging for it. Asking for feedback about the experience just makes it much easier to talk about from your team. Okay. So change the way you ask for it. Now let's refer to some of the ineffective ways of generating reviews. Simply asking your patients is going to be a very ineffective way. Generally, if you ask 100 patients, you're lucky if 5 to 7 go home and do it. You get very frustrated that way. Using these devices or this device is very ineffective. This is a tap device or a scan device. You do not want to use QR codes or tap devices in your physical office space anymore. Google's cracking down on this. You may notice that reviews aren't loading properly. They're not ranking as high as you want it to rank, or they're simply not loading and your number isn't going up any higher. Okay. So these devices should be not used in your physical office anymore. And you're not allowed to offer any type of incentive for a review. It's not allowed. Okay. So do not offer, you can't have a raffle item. You can't give a gift, nothing, no incentive. I've interviewed a lot of people over the years, a lot of patients I've interviewed, about 1,200 of them, and I keep tabs on, this is my own like personal survey. And I've asked patients, hey, why don't you go home and write a Google review for the dentist office? And these are the reasons I've been given. Now, just so you know, there are 9 reasons here. There's one hidden, which you can't see, which is the number one answer by far. It's like Family Feud, where 52% of the answers are that one choice, which you can see. All of these combined are 48%. So they don't care. They don't have time. They forget. Too many steps involved. Out of sight, out of mind. They don't know what to write. They don't know how to do it. They don't have a Google account. And to be very clear, in order to write a Google review, you have to have a Google account or a Gmail account. If you don't, you can't do it. They're not asked to write a review. And again, they don't care. So all of these reasons are 48% of the answers. The one answer that's 52% of the answers is this, that they don't know their Gmail or Google password. And if you don't know your password, you generally can't write a Google review and the process just stops. This is the limiting factor as to why a lot of software, you can't get reviews. Okay. Now, I mentioned at the beginning, I was going to spend a couple of minutes just talking about what Bird Eye does for a business. The first thing we do is we help get the listings consistent. So that's an included service offering at Bird Eye, is making those listings that I talked about previously consistent online. Now, we also generate reviews, and I'm going to show you how we do it here. So we are a mostly mobile technology. We do email as well, but we're mostly mobile because 98% of text messages are opened and 84% of text messages are read in 1 to 3 minutes. Okay. Now, these were patients of mine with 94,000 and 113,000 unread emails. That's a lot of unread emails, and your patients aren't going to open an email when you send it to them. So stop sending them emails. Focus on the text. This, by the way, is the number one person I ever met. They had 636,000 unread emails. That's crazy. I have hives thinking about that. So we are integrated into almost every single practice management software. There are very few that we don't integrate with, even on the cloud we integrate with. So very few do we not work with. And at the end of the day, we're going to send a text message and or email to the patients asking for feedback about the experience. Now, we limit this message 3 ways. We only send 1 review request within any 30-day period, so we're not bombarding the patients. If a mom, a dad, and a kid come in the same day, we're only sending 1 message to the parents at the end of the day. And third, and most importantly, if you think a patient had a bad experience, you can turn them off so they do not get a review request. So in essence, you have a complete control. So when they click the link, we hope your experience exceeded your expectations and that you want to write a positive review. However, if we haven't provided a 5-star experience, we want you to contact us directly by clicking the red button below. So Google and Facebook are green. Contact us directly is red. Green means go, red means stop. Green goes to one of the review sites, and red goes directly back to the practice. Now, we know with our software that 98.2% of the time, and we're in 11,000 dental practices, so we have a lot of data, that 98.2% of the time, if the patient has a problem, they hit the red button. When they hit the red button, we apologize. Please tell us how we can improve. And this is emailed back to the practice. It does not go online. So we're fending off negative feedback by sending it back to the practice. That's what this button does. Okay. Now we differentiate between Android users and iPhone users. Android phone users, we know, have a Google account, so we only give them Google as a choice. The iPhone users are the ones that get Google or Facebook because not every iPhone user has a Gmail account, and yet even less of them actually tell you they have Gmail. Now, what did I tell you was the main reason why patients don't write Google reviews is because the patients don't remember their Google password. And that's the problem we solve. So watch this process here. The patients click the link, they click on Google, and in one step, we take them to the stars, and in one step, they can write the review. So we make it super easy for the patients to write the reviews. That's why people use Bird Eye. Okay, and just to give you another example, this was a dentist who reached out to me telling me that he wasn't able to get a review with the link he was sending out. So I asked him to send me a link, and I created this video for him, and now I showed it in all my demos because it shows the difference between like a regular link versus what Bird Eye does. This is my phone and I'm narrating it. So just watch this video. From my iPhone, I received a message from a dentist saying that he could not get his patients to write Google reviews. So he sent me a link to his review request, and you can see that it lets you choose between Google and Facebook. When I click Google, you'll see here that it actually requires me to sign in. Patients are not going to do that. To do, okay? Compared to Bird Eye, here is a Bird Eye text message that I sent from my former office. And you'll see right here, when I click the link to do Bird Eye, it asks you, do you want to write a review on Google or Facebook? When I click on Google, it automatically logs me into the account and takes me right to the stars. So we make it very easy for patients to write reviews. That's the purpose behind what we do. Now that's super easy. This is not. How to quickly and easily write a Google review, it's 14 steps long. So that's what a regular patient has to go through. So we make the process really easy. Okay. Now I want to share with you before we finish up just a couple of things that I do not want you to do. Okay. So number one is I do not want you to sue a patient for a negative review in any way, shape, or form. No suing patients. Okay. This was an endodontist in New York who sued 4 patients for leaving a bad review. This is an example of one of them. Okay. Basically, it says I was sent by my general dentist with a problem. I was seen, it took 2 hours and 15 minutes. I saw the dentist for 30 minutes, and I was sent back to the general dentist with a possible cavity. That's what that says. And they left a 3-star review. They were sued. They lost, of course. And now I talk about this all the time. So do not sue a patient. Okay. Forever, you'll get questionable legal threats on your Yelp page, and you do not want that. You cannot incentivize for a review. Nothing. You can't give them anything of value. This was a dentist on their website that they had an end of the year giveaway for Google review raffles. You cannot do this. Okay. You're not allowed to give anything of value away in exchange for a review. Yelp actually monetizes their elite Yelpers to report businesses who violated these processes. So Monica Pardo, a dentist in Glendora, California, was offering free tickets to Disneyland, not World, in exchange for a 5-star review. This is what she had. Only 5-star reviews will enter into the raffle. She was giving free tickets away. You can't do that. Okay. But look how petty it gets. Premier Dental Care was giving an incentive for $30 credit towards their next visit. And Significant Orthodontist was giving a free whitening pen, which is like $5 in exchange for a 5-star review. You cannot give them anything of value. Now, can your practice have a kiosk to get reviews? You do not want to get reviews in your physical office space. Okay. You don't want to use QR codes in the office. You don't want to use tap devices in your office. You don't want the patients doing it in your physical office for 2 reasons. One is IP address, and they know the IP address where the reviews are coming from, but also because location services are turned on the patient's phone, and they're going to know they're getting it from the physical office space. You do not want to do that. What ends up happening is the reviews may show up, but your number isn't getting higher. That means old reviews are being taken down. Other times they're leaving the reviews and not even posting. So be very careful how you're going about doing these things. So a perfect business isn't one with perfect reviews. It's one that deals with reviews and feedback perfectly. So I'm going to have a couple of conclusions here, and then I'm going to do some just self-promotion, and then we'll be done. So the key to attracting new patients to your practice is visibility and credibility. You need both. Citation claiming is an important part of local SEO for visibility. You can attract quality new patients with a well-established online reputation. Spending on marketing while ignoring your reputation will lead to low return on investment. Having both visibility and credibility creates trust. And you must have some reputation marketing strategy for your practice. Simply asking is not going to get the job done. Using a piece of software that just sends a random link to the patient is not going to help either. You need to have a system that actually provides results. Okay. Now, I'm going to go through, as I mentioned, a couple of self-promotion here. So I have been in the dental space on the vendor side for 15 plus years. I've been a dentist or was a dentist for 23 plus years. I have a lot of trusted resources. This QR code will take you to those trusted resources. And you can choose from any of the companies that are on there. They're vetted by me over many, many years, and they work really well, and they give you preferred pricing. So go onto that list. They're business and marketing products. There's nothing clinically here. It's all ways to grow and make more money. Okay. I have a podcast that comes out Friday mornings, 5 a.m. On Friday. Comes out every Friday, and we're in season 8, and we have over 300 episodes released. I get about 1,200 to 1,300 downloads per episode. So if you have like a 35-minute drive to your office, I highly recommend you listen to my podcast. It's all about making more money, growing your practice revenue-wise. It isn't all about reviews anymore. So that's my podcast. I have a Facebook group with the same name. You're welcome to join. There's no sales allowed. It's all people. They post their bad reviews. They ask for advice on getting more reviews. But it's a fun group. Again, no sales allowed in there. I have an event in September of 2025. It's actually at Pier 66 in Fort Lauderdale, September 26th and 27th, featuring these speakers. This is the 3rd year we're having it. If you have interest in finding out more information, you can go to the website using this QR code. And the early bird pricing is cheap. It's $6.99 for a doctor, $3.49 for a team member. Doctors and team members are invited, but it's the 3rd annual event. It's going to be a really intense way to kind of grow the revenue in your practice. It's called Supercharge Your Dental Practice. This is my contact information. That QR code will provide you my contact information. My email, my cell phone are in here. So if you have any questions, you can certainly reach out to me. I'm happy to assist or happy to answer any questions you have. This is Bird Eye pricing. It's $300 per month discounted, or $3,000 a year further discounted. So $250 a month with an annual payment. There is no setup fee. Pretty basic services. What Bird Eye does, and again, if you have any questions, you can certainly reach out to me. We fix your listings, we generate reviews, we market the review, which I didn't show, and then we moderate the reviews, and we use artificial intelligence to do that. Here's my contact information again. You can go to bookwithlen.com and you can set up a meeting with me that way, or you can scan that QR code as well and set up a meeting with me there. And I end every single one of my webinars with 2 words that I live my life by, and I recommend you do the same. Remember, your reputation matters. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody. And again, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. I'm happy to show you a demo of Bird Eye. Jacqueline, thank you so much for inviting me to be on your webinar series. And I look forward to connecting with people soon if they need any assistance. Thank you, Jacqueline. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you, Len. We love having you. This was a very informative webinar. I hope everyone learned a ton today. I just feel like you kind of cover everything. You make everything so simple. If you need to get a hold of Dr. Tau, again, it's Dr. Len Tau at birdeye.com. I would suspect people have questions or wondering how their own online presence is going. So thank you, Len, for
I appreciate you having me, and I hope they enjoyed the content.
Good. I'm sure they did. So this webinar is brought to you by eAssist Dental Solutions. We help practices simplify dental billing so that you can focus on what matters most, and that's obviously your patients. Thanks again for being with us today. We wish you continued success in your practice online and beyond. Thanks, Len.
Thank you very much, Jacqueline. Take care.